There's a three. No. And that's going to do it. Golden State takes game 2 of the NBA Finals.
Not the result they were hoping for as the Toronto Raptors lose game 2 of the NBA Finals. Good evening, I'm Lisa Shing. The incredible winning streak from the Toronto Raptors has ended. Now we head straight to our Greg Ross, who is live from Jurassic Park tonight. Greg, they came so close tonight.
It was a close one, but for the first time in 6 games, Lisa, Raptor fans were not celebrating as they left Jurassic Park. It was very quiet, a very dismal scene as they kind of shuffled their way out of Jurassic Park here. It was a tough one for the Raptors, there's no doubt about it. This is a game where for the first half they seemed to be in control. They were up by 5 at the half, but then an 18-0 run to start the second half of the Golden State Warriors really turned this game in their favor, and they didn't look back. And that's the pushback that we expected from this team. The two-time defending champions coming in and showing the Raptors why they're the two-time defending champions. With a great second half performance, they were able to hold on to the lead despite a late push by the Raptors in this game. And 109-104 was the final score. And again, a tough night for fans. We've got some of them who were nice enough to stick around after that one to talk to us. But that, I mean, obviously was a frustrating one because of the fact that the Raptors looked to be in control early on.
Yeah, it was a very tough loss for us. We felt confident in the first 2 quarters. Third quarter, when Golden State went on our run, we fell down. We fell apart. Everyone started feeling down with their heads down.
Was it quiet in here when that happened?
Yeah, it started getting quiet, and then after in the fourth quarter, early on in the fourth quarter, we were trying to build a comeback. Crowd was in it. But then
the energy did come back into this place for a little while, but it just was not enough for the Raptors. But I'll ask you, I mean, do you feel the confidence overall now is maybe taking a bit of a shift after a game like that where the Golden State Warriors showed just how dominant they can be in a short period of time?
I mean, definitely, it's the Golden State Warriors. I mean, you expect them to come back like this. I mean, you saw it in the Portland series where 3 of their games, it was a 15-point lead going into the half, and all of a sudden it just collapsed and Golden State get the victory and the dub. So we expected this. Like, game 1 was definitely like a glimmer of hope, but now it's kind of wobbly since we lost home court advantage, and that took a long fight to win that. So yeah, it definitely wavers down.
You got your mini Raptor here ready to go. I mean, you were hoping to be celebrating with this tonight. Obviously not the outcome you were hoping for.
Yeah, it wasn't the outcome. You know, that third quarter really killed. Like, you know, if we just stopped them right there, this would be a totally different atmosphere right now. It'd be crazy out there. Like, people climbing stuff, like that game 1 win.
Well, that's exactly what we've seen, you know, the last 5 games before this one, where Raptor fans, the Raptors were winning, and there was lots of celebration, there was lots of cheering on the streets, but that's not what we get in this game tonight. And it was a big one. I mean, there was a lot of celebrity presence in this game. Former U.S. President Barack Obama was in attendance for this game. We've got the Canadian Open that's happening, Canadian Open of Golf that's happening next week. Well, you had a bunch of golfers that were here. It was a big night, lots of electricity to start the night, but that really has fizzled. And now the Raptors have to head to Oakland for game 3 with this series all knotted at a game apiece, and the onus now is on the Raptors. And you guys know this, it's really important that they go on the road and they find a way to get a big road victory like Golden State did tonight. Are you concerned about whether or not they can do it in a very difficult building to play?
It'll be difficult. I mean, inside Oakland or in the arena, everyone struggles in that arena. It's tough. It's tough for them to come into our arena. They split the series in our home. It's time for us to go split, or maybe even take both games in their arena.
Well, the Raptors weren't a bad road team this year, and they did get a big Game 5 victory in that Eastern Conference Final against the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm sure you guys remember that one. They're going to need to find a way to do it again, but the stakes are much higher, and the team that they're facing is a much more formidable opponent. There's no doubt about that, but again, the Raptors have proven their resilience in these playoffs, and we'll see if they can prove it one more time to these fans as they head out to play in, as you said, a very tough building to play in.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating series to keep our eyes on, Greg. Thank you so much for that. Now, it's not just fans in downtown Toronto who are disappointed. Our Kelda Yoon is live in Brampton for us tonight at its very own Jurassic Park West. Kelda, how are the fans taking the loss there?
Look happy, we're sad.
Well, fans here, obviously, like fans all across Toronto and Canada, a little disappointed, but most of them also optimistic. I am here at Jurassic Square, Brampton. There were like about 5,000 people earlier. Most of them, well, almost all of them are all gone, but I have this group of friends with me, bearing the cold with me. Now, I know a little bit disappointed tonight, but how are you feeling after the game?
Sad, disappointed, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing. I think they settled for too many three-pointers at the end. Like, when they get down, they just have to take it to the rim and, like, slowly get back up. But, you know, you got to be optimistic until the end. But, unfortunately, they couldn't get through. So.
And the mood kind of changed a little bit. At the beginning, it was really exciting. And then we were leading by 5 at half. And then it kind of from there fell apart in the third. How were you feeling when it got to that point?
It was kind of surprising because to see Curry come out of nowhere with these threes, it was just, everybody was like, what the heck? This guy was actually mad. So, yeah.
And then towards the very end, there was that push, and we thought maybe we can come back. I mean, what were you thinking?
I was very hopeful until the last 5 seconds. I was very hopeful. I was rooting for them.
Yeah. I know, it felt like everybody was kind of like standing up and hoping, and then hopes dashed, unfortunately. But this was a really cool place. I hadn't been to, you guys are all from Brampton.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have your own Jurassic Park? You don't have to go downtown. You don't have to wait for 10 hours to get in.
Honestly, like, it was such a big turnout, not even today, but like from the first final game. It was actually such a really good experience because it shows how much people supported the Raptors all around Canada. It was just really good.
Yeah, how does it feel to see all that support from everywhere, from coast to coast?
I think it was really good here because I saw a lot of familiar faces, so it felt more personal. Like, we could all cheer together. Like, see, like, I didn't even come with half of these people, but like we all came together in the end, so it was good to like cheer, like, even though they lost, but like it's good to cheer like right until the end.
Yeah. And now moving forward, we're going to California for Game 3. What's your prediction?
Well, I think we have to keep the hometown love with us, and the Raptors have to make sure that they know that we're all still cheering for them. So in the next few games, they have to really step it up and take it home with California.
Absolutely. And are you guys going to be coming back here to watch?
Most
Definitely. You're all coming back, right? And cheering on the Raptors.
We're prepared, but we will be coming back.
And optimistic. We'll take Game 3.
Yeah. Just gotta have that.
So we're optimistic. We're taking Game 3. I'll send it back to you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Kelda. And we've got a few more games left, so not all hope is lost. And this right here, taking you back to downtown Toronto, it's a shot of really dejected Raps fans heading home from the game. Clearly not as much energy as we've seen in the last 4, but, well, you heard it there. Still a lot of hope left. There's a lot of games left. The Raptors are going to be on the road, so we'll see how they fare in California, as we heard Kelda say. But just an interesting juxtaposition to those videos we saw from, a week or so ago with fans on the buses and celebrating. And win or lose, it doesn't really matter. The excitement from this series has been infectious. This was the scene earlier tonight in Windsor at Charles Clark Square. Fans there celebrating this historic run. And Raptors fever isn't just confined to Ontario. It has swept the entire country. Communities everywhere, based on this map, as you can see, have set up their own versions of Jurassic Park. Now heading to another story we're following tonight for the second time in less than a year. Severe winds have torn through the Ottawa area. A funnel cloud with high winds hit the Orleans section of the city around 6:30 local time. Olivia Chandler has more on the damage it left behind.
Residents in this Orleans neighborhood are marveling at the destruction that they found after a tornado ripped through this neighborhood earlier tonight.
Trees ripped out of the ground, sheds toppled over, park benches ripped apart. That's the scene right now in an Orleans neighborhood. Some residents, like David Robb, were taken by the sudden storm.
The trees started to bend and the wind howled, and I said, oh, This is more than just a little wind. This is I didn't know it's a downdraft or whatever they call that, or a tornado. But boy, it sure wreaked its vengeance on us in a very short period of time.
Environment Canada has confirmed a tornado had touched down in the Ottawa region. At around that time, many people in Ottawa began posting video of funnel clouds and trees knocked over. All the tornado warnings have been lifted, and paramedics say there were no major injuries. Tomorrow, Environment Canada will try to figure out the path of destruction. Now, the damage wasn't as severe as the Dunrobin tornado damage last year, but people are telling me that minutes before the tornado ripped through this community in this exact park, kids were playing, and some say that they dodged a bullet. Olivia Chandler, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, now for our first look at weather with Amanda Weldon. Amanda, it's a bit of an unstable weather system it seems we're looking at.
Yeah, I know we have had the active weather, Lisa. There's an upper low in place, and it's really been swinging through some of these systems. Monday morning, we're pretty clear in Toronto, and we had such a great night for Jurassic Park, which we were focusing on, and really thought that was going to be the focus. Now we take you to Orleans, Ontario, as you guys have been talking about. It was just so interesting watching the cell move, becoming more potent, that funnel streaming down from the cloud, ominous views. But what is most interesting about a scenario like this is usually in any scenario, Environment Canada doesn't say that's a tornado. It has to be really confirmed later based on the destruction and the damage that we had. So many viewer videos. So when there's a tornado warning in place, it's either imminent or occurring. Orleans was one of those places. So many trees downed. And in this area as well, I'll just show you a couple of the icons so we can get to the short-term, long-term later. But what I will say is in this area, what you were seeing was the debris from the bottom of those funnels. And I'm saying those funnels because there's a potential for multiples with this system. And that confirmed that that vortex did touch the ground. We'll be back very shortly with you, Lisa, and I'll give you a little bit more in depth about what to expect next and then to come this week.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much, Amanda.
No problem.
Now to the wildfire emergency in northern Ontario. The Canadian Armed Forces continued its airlift of evacuees from Pikangikum First Nation today. Hundreds have already been flown to safety. Ramna Shahzad has an update for us.
The fire continues raging. Officials say it now covers 3,660 hectares.
So today, fire ranger crews are continuing to work the west and the north flank, which are nearest to the community. Again, trying to establish that perimeter around that area of the fire.
Red Lake Fire 14 started Wednesday afternoon, with Pikangikum Chief Amanda Sinawap declaring a state of emergency later that night. Pikangikum is the furthest community in northwestern Ontario and one of the most isolated communities in the province. What makes this rescue effort even more difficult? The fire has burned through communication lines in the area, making the coordination with the rest of the province that much tougher.
Communications have been strained, there's no question about it. What this is really all about, in addition to leadership on the ground and leadership out of our various ministries, has been the overwhelming response from towns and cities across northwestern Ontario.
Kapakasing is one of the communities helping out. Jerry Strang is one of the evacuees there. The province is also reminding people in northwestern Ontario the fire hazard is still high. Changes in the wind direction will likely bring more smoke into the community tomorrow. People with concerns about smoke inhalation are being asked to contact Telehealth Ontario. With a chance of showers in the forecast for the next few days, relief could be in sight. Ramna Shahzad, CBC News, Toronto.
And over in northern Alberta, another 12,000 people have been put on evacuation alert. That's on top of the 11,000 who have already been forced out of their homes by wildfires. But there's some good news for residents of High Level and the surrounding communities there. They can go home tomorrow morning, though they'll have to be ready to leave again if necessary. There are still dozens of wildfires burning right across the province. And in Toronto, police are investigating after a 16-year-old was shot twice while sitting in a car in Etobicoke early this morning.
We do have officers canvassing with the buildings to see if there is any footage that would have captured what happened here this evening. As well, our forensic people are on the way right now so they can process the scene once we locate it. We've got a dog here that's searching right now for evidence of the shooting.
It happened at 1 a.m. near Albion and Elmhurst. The teen was with a friend when a car drove by and someone started shooting. He was taken to a hospital but is expected to live. Police are looking for a black 4-door 200 or 300 model Chrysler. Donald Trump getting ready for a visit to the UK, and protesters are gearing up to meet him. More on just who exactly is upset about the president's visit right after the break. A rare Sunday sitting at Queen's Park today.
We're actually supporting the opposition's in favor. We didn't need to be here on a Sunday, and this is just the way that the Ford government manages. They manage very badly.
They don't perhaps want to be here today on Sunday, but as Conservatives, we're prepared to work. We take the job seriously as legislators.
The House sat earlier today in an effort to pass several bills before the summer break. MPPs debated an animal welfare bill that was adopted at second reading. The PC government is also trying to pass a bill that kills a contract with the beer store. The session wraps on Thursday. In the U.S., preparations are underway for President Donald Trump's state visit to the UK, which kicks off tomorrow. He'll be met with the pomp and pageantry that goes with an invitation from the Queen. But as Paul Hunter explains, not everyone there thinks Trump deserves the red carpet treatment.
The message in this new ad for Britain's Sky News network seems ominously clear, with shadows falling over everything British, even the Queen, The cut line, he's back. Trump, the baby blimp, in diapers. And as Britain braces, Trump, meanwhile, is talking about everything. In an interview with the Sunday Times, he gave this advice to Britain on Brexit talks.
If you don't get the deal you want, a fair deal, then you walk away.
And he supported Brexit hardliner Nigel Farage, who's called Theresa May Britain's worst ever prime minister.
I like Nigel a lot, and I think he's got a lot to offer. I think he's an asset to your country.
Last week, Trump seemed to take on Meghan Markle, the American-born actress now Duchess of Sussex. He spoke with the Sun tabloid Friday.
She said she'd move to Canada if you got elected. Turned out she moved to Britain.
Well, that would be good. There are a lot of people moving here. So what can I say? No, I didn't know that she was nasty.
For all of the above and more, many in Britain are aghast. London's Mayor Sadiq Khan today likened Trump to a 20th century fascist who's flat out not worthy of red carpet treatment in Britain.
Why do I say that? I think our closest ally is akin to a best friend. And the thing about a best friend is, of course, you stand shoulder to shoulder with them at times of adversity, but you've got to call them out when you think they're wrong. And there are so many things about President Donald Trump's policies that are the antithesis of our values in London, but also our values as a country.
Okay. On his way to the UK tonight, Trump denied saying, as he put it, any bad comments about Meghan Markle. He also told reporters that he expects the trip will be very interesting. Few doubt that. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Well, some excitement earlier, but now pretty disappointed Raps fans after that loss tonight. We'll check back in with our Greg Ross right after the break. Yes, the Raptors lost tonight, but still a few games left in the NBA Finals. We check back in with our Greg Ross, who is live for us. Greg, now that the Raptors and Golden State are tied, it's going to be an interesting series.
Well, you know what? I think a lot of people would have predicted that from the outset, that this is a series that could go a long way. We could see potentially 7 games in this series. Definitely now we know we're going to go to Game 5 back here at Scotiabank Arena after this loss for the Raptors tonight. And, you know, it's such a different feel in this building right now than after Game 1 when everybody seemed so happy and everybody was cheering as they left the building. Not the case tonight. A very difficult finish for Raptor fans in this one tonight. And it was a game and a night that started so well. Hey, even the former U.S. President of the United States, Barack Obama, was in the building tonight, making an appearance, watching the game and taking it in. And I think a lot of people were very excited about that. And he got to see the Raptors get off to a fantastic start in this game. Their defense looked good early on in this game. Their offense looked good early on in this game. In fact, they were up by 5 going into the half, but it was a third quarter run by the Golden State Warriors that really turned this game on its head. They went on an 18-0 run to start the second half, and the Raptors were never able to claw their way back into this game. Despite a late push in the fourth quarter, Golden State manages to hang on and win this game 109-104. And as you said, Lisa, they even this series up at 1 game apiece. So now a tall task at hand for the Raptors. They have to go to Oakland now for games 3 and 4. And I think now you look at this and you look at the team they're facing, the 2-time defending NBA champions. The Raptors are going to have to go out on the road, and they're going to have to find a way to get a very tough road victory and a very tough building to play in at Oracle Arena in Oakland. So we'll see if the Raptors can get that done. Again, they have their work cut out for them as they head out on the road for this series. Golden State doing exactly what they needed to, earning a split in the first 2 games of this series, Lisa.
Definitely some good competition there. Thanks a lot, Greg. Now, time to check in with our last look at weather with Amanda Weldon, who is live as well with us. Amanda, it was really warm before. I don't know what happened.
I'm thinking, Lisa, okay, what's more disappointing? Summer not showing up or the Raptors lost tonight?
All of it. Just all of it.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's turn that frown upside down. Monday afternoon, 16 degrees. I know it's not exactly summer weather, but still. Okay, Monday evening, we've got 12 degrees, sun in the mix, high pressure in place. And now I think you're not going to like me as much, Lisa, because this is all going to change, actually. We had gusty conditions Sunday overnight, and it's going to continue into Monday morning, too. It's going to be pretty gusty. And then after that cold front that really brought that active weather that we were talking about earlier in areas like Ottawa, Orleans, started in Gatineau, we're going to see that cold air ushered in behind that front. And actually, by the time we reach Tuesday, we're at 13 degrees and rain in the mix. But you know what? The flowers, the grass, they all need it, okay? Take a trip to Guelph. You got 20 degrees there. Closer to the lakes, it's going to feel so much cooler. So whatever your temperature is, if you're closer to the lakes, of course, it's going to feel cooler. Wednesday, Tuesday, a look at what that rainfall may look like. And though we like the rain for the grass, we don't exactly like the rain for areas like Lake Ontario. The level, the average this time of year, around 75 meters. Reminiscent of 2017, peaked around that 75.93 mark. We are just 0.02 away from being at that level. So more rainfall on the way isn't great news for that. The next shot of potentially active weather will look into Wednesday, but then back to happy Lisa. We're going to look into the weekend because we've got 20s in the mix for Friday and Saturday. I know this is still a ways away, but nonetheless, still some dry conditions seem pretty good. Across the board, across the GTA, it is Wednesday. That will be really that overnight Tuesday into Wednesday story, maybe draping behind that front. You may get a couple showers on Thursday, but sun in the mix after.
You know what? I'll take it. I've been waiting for 30s, but, you know, tamping expectations at this point. Thanks a lot, Amanda.
No problem.
Well, that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Before we go, we'll leave you with a live shot of disappointed fans heading home from Jurassic Park tonight. Have a great night.